Yes people, what's going on? Welcome back to another video on the channel. Today we're going to be looking at some Chelsea transfer news, and also we're going to involve Man United and Man City as well. Both big, key, vital parts of what's going to happen at Chelsea. Let's get straight into it. We're going to talk about some massive names: Ben Chilwell, Koulibaly, Nathan Ake, Jadon Sancho. There's a few more as well. Let's get straight into this video, and we're going to start with the one that kind of least impacts Chelsea, which is Jadon Sancho. Obviously he's been a Chelsea target for many months. I don't think he's the right person to be at Chelsea. Not for the guide price that Borussia Dortmund want. However, Man United are estimating around about 50-60 million, maybe up to 70, is where they see Jadon Sancho's valuation, and Borussia Dortmund see 120. There's quite a big difference here, if you see what I mean. I don't think it's going to happen. I don't think it's going to come through, and it'll be very interesting to see what happens with the whole story about Jadon Sancho. He's clearly a talented player, but I think there's a lot of players that are kind of very similar to him. I'm not saying he's better or they're better or whatever. That's an opinion thing. That's down to you. But for me, I think there's a lot of young English talent coming through, and I think it is being slightly overhyped. Not saying that Jadon Sancho is one of those in particular. I think there's going to be a lot of money thrown around for English players in the next few years, particularly in the summer months. I don't think Dortmund are going to lower their price that much for one of their star players. It just makes no sense to me. But let's talk about another winger. Two wingers, actually. Let's talk very quickly about Willian. Of course, it does involve Chelsea. Him looking like he's going to go to Arsenal. My thoughts on it, because people have been asking me, I don't really care. I must be honest. I think Chelsea should have moved Willian on a fair few years ago. I remember a £50-odd million bid coming in from Barcelona. We should have absolutely ripped their hands off for it. I am a big fan of Willian. I've got a signed shirt of him. I've met him a few times. I like the guy a lot. However, it doesn't mean that we need to keep him around. It's just one of those things. I think he's been very good since lockdown, and my dad will probably disagree with me on this, but I think it's time for him to move on. He scores a couple of big goals every now and again, which is great, but he hasn't exactly had consistent seasons at Chelsea for many, many years. I don't think the Willian that we got in the first 5 years of the deal is the same one that we've got in the last 2 or so years of the deal. I just think it's time to move on from Willian. But also him going to Arsenal potentially moves him away, or moves them away from the race to sign Benrahma. Now, I watched a game last night. Of course, Brentford lost. Brentford, I've got a brand new stadium, haven't unfortunately now got Premier League football. I generally did want them to get Premier League football, someone new, someone more exciting, and I do generally like Brentford as a club, as much as they hate us for some bizarre reason. I do like them as a club. But Saïd Benrahma is apparently on the move. They do have to sell someone if they want to pay off that stadium, and I don't think they're going to do it, even if they are right at the top of the Championship next season. If they don't go up, they're going to struggle to pay it off. Now, what I would do with Benrahma, and I think it would be a very fair thing to do, I think he's 23, 24 now. I want to say he's 24. For me, I think we can pick him up for 25 million. I think that would be a reasonable price. They want 40, I think he's probably worth about 20. I think if you then went 20, 25, 30 million, I don't think he's worth any more than that. Because he's good and he's talent, but again, talent you have to be able to work with. But for me, I think the most important thing is we go in for him, we express the interest, because Callum Hudson-Odoi, there's been rumours about him, Pedro is going, Willian is going. I just think Chelsea needs to be able to establish ourselves wide, because there keeps being Mason Mount thrown out wide, Ruben Loftus-Cheek was thrown out wide. We don't quite know what we've got. Kai Havertz, where the hell they're going to use him, wide, central, who knows, Ziyech's coming in, Werner's coming in. Let's just try and sort ourselves out in the attacking three, which I think we are slowly starting to do. If we can sign Benrahma, then we've got our offensive unit. That's absolutely fine. And then we can start to really think about transfers that are coming in midfield, and most importantly in defence. If we can get Benrahma, I don't think he's going to start instantly, but if he really wants to progress his career, then I think he needs to come and play for a club like Chelsea. I think we can get it done. And Brentford, who do need money, I think we'll have to unfortunately let him go. And I think we're going to have a real good player in our hands, I must be honest. I don't think he's going to go and be a world-class superstar potentially, but the likes of Solomon Kalou for Chelsea for many, many years were brilliant. They were really perfect players to have. I think actually I saw some weird stat that goal per million, Solomon Kalou was actually one of the best forwards Chelsea ever had. He was never the superstar, he was never the main man, but my God, did he do a job. And I think Benrahma is going to be that as well. If he can start to progress his own career, even if it is from the bench, I think he'd massively appreciate that. Now, a little bit of a spoiler for you, I'm actually going to be doing a massive video with Lewis later on today. It's going to come out in the next few days. probably Monday. I'm not too sure about that, but probably Monday. Who we can and who we can't sign, what we should and shouldn't be doing. It's going to be a good video, but that's for another time. Let's talk about now. Something that we need to address is our defensive problems. Now, I don't know if you've seen this floating around online in the last 24 hours. It is what it is. I'm actually in this group chat that the messages come from. Apparently, it's Ben Chilwell is done to Chelsea for 42 million quid. Now, of course, we've been linked with a certain Spanish fullback whose name I'm not going to mention because I'm going to mention it later in the video with Lewis, but £42 million is probably about what I'd be expecting to pay for Ben Chilwell. However, I don't think that's what's going to happen. He's a good fullback, but Leicester have already said they're going to try and use the same tactic that they used with Maguire to go and get a world record fee for the fullback. I don't think it's going to happen. He's a good player, but I don't think he's worth anything more than probably 60 million quid, and that's an absolute max. 42 for me is completely reasonable, but again, I don't see it happening. We are going to skip over a certain fullback who I will speak about in later videos, but let's move on to the centre-half situation and Man City, because they have got big problems, the same way that we have. They had Fernandinho playing centre-half for them for large chunks of last season, and he was good, but he's not elite centre-half material. They've of course got Laporte, but again, he has some weird injury problems. Who knows who's going to be able to recover from them? And of course, Nathan Ake looks like it's going through. Chelsea have avoided the Nathan Ake transfer. That's personal preference down to us. I don't think he's worth 43 million that we'd have had to have bid anyway. But there is one person that they are after that I'm going to speak about in this video and the one later, which is Koulibaly. They are after Koulibaly, and he is like #1 prime target for them. Now, for me, he should be prime target #1 for Chelsea. We need a goalkeeper, we need a left back, we need probably Kai Havertz as well, but we need to get the defence sorted out, and Koulibaly would be a perfect upgrade from Rudiger. People are saying he's old, maybe hasn't got it for as long or whatever, blah 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 blah. All this nonsense is being thrown around. I'll just let you know this, people may not think about it and be real about it. There is about a month between when Van Dijk was born and when Koulibaly was born. I think Koulibaly's the older one, I can never remember. Either way, they're both 29. They've got a long time ahead of them. Klopp said that Van Dijk could play for another 10 years at Liverpool. Now, I don't think it's quite going to be 10 years, but even if it's 7 or 8 years, it's very much worth doing. Taken to the age of 36, 37, as a leader and someone that knows what they're doing in Van Dijk and Koulibaly, their experience would be so valuable, so valuable. Chelsea need to get this one over the line. The problem is there's not enough talk about centre-halves for me coming from Chelsea. All the rumours are online, they're talking about how we're scoring goals and we want to go and buy this playmaker and that playmaker and blah 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 blah. Very similar to what's happened with Man United. They keep going after Jadon Sancho, but actually I think one of their major problems is left back and probably a decent central defensive midfielder, because Matic is good, but he's not the elite presence that they want. If Chelsea want to get this summer window right, we need to go and get that elite centre-half, and Koulibaly for me is the absolute perfect person. He is the perfect replacement for Rudiger. Christensen still needs to go in my opinion, but we're going to have a really good defensive line if we buy right. And buying right is being able to beat Man City to the signing of Koulibaly. Now, we've got some big names on board already with Werner, Ziyech and Havertz looking like he's on the way. All fine and cushy, but Man City have got more money than us. We really need to move now and try and secure Koulibaly, otherwise Man City are just going to swoop in, and that's prime target #1 defensively, absolutely gone for us. As much as I am all for this long game and whatever and making sure we get the right people in, we need to also realise that defence is a massive problem. And if you look at all the elite clubs in Europe, they all have at least one, if not two, elite centre-backs. We haven't got any. Hate to say it, we haven't got any. Van Dijk transformed Liverpool with their one major elite centre-half, and they've got Joe Gomez playing next to him, who, let's be honest, is not an elite centre-half. He's a very good centre-half, but he's not like one of Europe's elite just yet. He's going to learn, he's going to turn into a great player. If Koulibaly can come and do what Van Dijk is doing at Chelsea, with maybe Tomori or someone like that, oh my god, we could be sorted for absolutely years to come. But this is the problem. We need to talk about it. It needs to happen soon, because someone like Koulibaly is too good to miss out on. Napoli need to sell. This is the perfect time, and Koulibaly wants to come and win trophies. We're building a team for the future that can win trophies. I want him to be a part of it. He'll want to be a part of it. It just works. So there we are, that's just a quick little update video on what I think Chelsea should and shouldn't do, and a few other things that are going on as well in the transfer market currently. It's very, very important that Chelsea get it right in the next few weeks, because if we don't, we're going to be slacking behind for years to come. It is that crucial. I'm going to do a video again, as I keep saying with Lewis, where I explain a hell of a lot of things. Please do keep an eye out for that video. It is going to be a very good one. It's going to be a very in-depth one. Hopefully you guys will enjoy it. But for now, I'll see you all later. Make sure you like, share and subscribe, and I'll see you soon for loads more content. Up the Chelsea.